So, brother, have you ever struggled with fear of judgment?
Absolutely.
Tell me about
I
it.
think we all have, right? Especially when I was younger, growing up, like adolescent years, and then certainly in high school. I think I was living my life in such a way where I was very, very worried about what other people thought about me. And I wanted to fit in. I really wanted to, look a certain way and be perceived a certain way by my peers. Absolutely. And that was kind of something that was pervasive throughout, most of my life until probably I'm 26 now, probably until the last couple of years, honestly.
Wait, you're
And
only 26?
26, yeah.
What?
And I'm not going to sit here and say I don't think about it at all. And I'm
Right.
completely, uh, it's completely void from my life. But
Right.
I would say I've figured out, I've built, I've built my confidence quite a bit, and I've gotten to a point in my life where I'm able to live from a place of authenticity, despite maybe sometimes still having some of those, some of that fear of judgment perhaps creep in every once in a while. But what about you, brother?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, I was like super shy. You got something crawling on your leg right there. I was scared for a second because I was worried we were in a pile of ants, and I remember you telling me about Sarah.
Fucking A.
But no, I definitely struggled a lot with fear of judgment because I was so shy. Like as a kid, I was so reserved. If my mom wasn't around and I didn't have her leg to hide around, I was like super self-conscious about who was looking at me or what people thought about me. Yeah, it was definitely. But like for you, what do you feel like? Is there a certain moment in your life you feel like there's like a transition, or like can you think of a certain moment in your life when things changed, or did it just kind of gradually get you to where you are today?
That's a good question. I think it was definitely gradual. When I started working out and getting into health and fitness, and I began transforming the way I looked, that definitely helped a lot. Because when I was younger, I was overweight. I was just chubby and super self-conscious around that. I'm not going to say that when I started to go hit the gym, I did not completely lose that sense of self-consciousness. If anything, it just kind of maybe morphed into something different because
Mm-hmm.
um, it went from, I was very aware and self-conscious of the way that if I had I did have extra fat on my body, to then I went to a place of like, oh, I'm fucking small. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I just started comparing myself. So really what it
Mm.
comes down to for me is it morphed into something like into comparison. And that's definitely something that you know, I am doing work on and recognizing. And I think awareness is a really important aspect of it.
For sure.
But another piece of it is I just realized like why I don't want to live my life in a way that's being dictated. I don't want my actions to be dictated by others and like the external. I want to live my life in such a way that I feel good, and I feel my best and I feel my most confident when I'm just being authentic. And when I'm doing shit for me, not for other people. And I think that is what many I think everybody should come back to is, are you not doing things because you're worried about what other people think? And if that's the case, then I think you need to do some really deep introspection and reflection on where's that coming from?
Right.
And I've thought about this in some depth. And I came up with four different kind of lenses that I think people, including myself, can look at their personal fear of judgment through. And these lenses not only allow you to kind of figure out maybe why you're feeling that way, but they allow you to get past the fear of judgment and to do the thing anyways.
I love that. Was this like something you just like designed yourself?
It just kind of came to
Like
me.
your own experiment kind of thing?
Yeah, it just kind of came to me.
Oh, I love
Honestly.
that. Yeah, tell us about it.
Do you want to hear? Okay,
Of course.
so in no specific order, the first one, and this is kind of cliche, but if you're on your deathbed and you're looking back at your life and you're thinking about all the things that you wanted to do and you didn't do those things because you were afraid of what other people would think of you, I guarantee that you would feel regret around that.
Dude, I think about deathbed all the fucking time.
Right.
It's like the biggest motivator, because it puts a lot of things into perspective.
Right.
But anyways, keep going. I love
No,
this.
100%, dude. I think contemplating death, this is a very, a stoic principle, a principle of stoicism. This idea of contemplating death in Buddhism and lots of the major, philosophies. But absolutely, I think thinking about death, and I actually have this tattoo here, memento mori, is essentially roughly translates to remember death.
Doesn't that stand for like one day you will die?
Yeah, remember you're going to die, remember
Yeah,
death.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like all of those kind of convey the same message. And that holds true. So it's like, remember that you're going to die. So not only are you going to die, and none of this, I mean, it does matter. Everything has meaning, but the what I'm trying to get at is the opinions of others don't fucking matter, right?
Right.
Because you're going to die, and because, our time here is so, at least in its human form, is so finite, right?
Why do you think it's so hard for people to like see that? Because we've all heard it.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like, okay, it's one thing to hear it, and then tomorrow when you're in the grocery store, all of a sudden, like what do you think is hindering them from being able to see it every day?
Well, I think as humans, we're meant to focus on survival, and we're meant to focus on fitting into the herd, just from a maybe evolutionary standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about it through the lens of like Darwinism, for example, it's like we evolved to fit in. We evolved because if we didn't fit in, then we would be pushed out by our tribe, by our whatever, like our community, and then we'd fucking die because that's just how shit was. So a lot of that's hardwired in, I think. And I think also as humans, we focus on the negatives a lot because, again, survival.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why it's so hard for us to accept that. And then another thing is that, yes, we definitely ruminate about the past. We feel anxiety about the future. However, as humans, we don't really think long term. So I think it's hard for us to put ourselves in that perspective of, I am going to die one day. And as you and I both know, that it's not guaranteed that will be in a long ways away. That could be fucking whenever.
Yeah, it could be tomorrow.
And that's another kind of branch of this same way of thinking, is you could die tomorrow. So do you want to be living your life and not doing shit because you're afraid of what others are going to think when you could die tomorrow? So that's kind of one of the lenses we can look at.
Love that. So the first one is to consider what you would tell yourself if you were on your deathbed. Like if you were to be on your deathbed, what you would tell yourself right now.
Yeah, exactly. Or like if you can put yourself on your deathbed and you can be in that state of mind, would you have wanted to avoid potential fear of judgment from other people and not do the thing? Or would you rather that makes you happy, or would you rather do the thing and maybe get judged by other people? I think most people would say, yeah, I'd rather fucking do the thing.
Yeah, of course.
When you're on your deathbed, because when you're confronted with death, all those little things just don't really matter.
Right. So you said there's 4 of them?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's more than 4, but 4 that I've kind of put into this framework. Yeah.
Nice. By the way, guys, this is Gabe, and
What's up, y'all?
we're at Barton Springs right now. We were actually shooting some content for his brand, Dialed, and thought it would be a cool idea to just chat a little bit about fear of judgment, because it's something that has been prevalent in both of our lives, and I think everybody on this planet struggles with it. So what better place to talk about fear of judgment than in the sun with the homie?
That's right, bro.
All right, so what's number 2?
Good chat. All right, number 2, and again, not in any specific order. Number 2 is just you're delusional, right? Like, people don't actually care. People are not paying attention to you. You think you're way more important than you actually are.
Dude.
Right?
For real.
Like, just think about all the shit people have to worry about.
Yeah, nobody's going to bed at night putting their head on their pillow thinking, wow, I remember Gabe was doing like 1,000,000 handstands in the middle of Barton. What a weirdo.
Right.
Nobody
Exactly.
thinks that.
So we're just, through this lens, we're just assuming the worst. We're just assuming that people are judging us, when in reality, they have way bigger shit to worry about. And if they are judging us, they're going to forget about it. Like, they're like, oh, he did this weird thing. They're not going to remember tomorrow.
Right.
Right? Like,
Right.
they're just going to forget.
It's also like, if they are condemning you or judging you in a negative way, like, their opinion truly doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Does not matter.
And that gets me to, that's a nice little segue into the next one, which is the mentality of who gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Someone's judging you. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Why does that matter?
Right.
Right. So that's a really powerful one to adopt.
It's also like they're gonna judge anyway, so you might as well give them something to judge and
Sure.
live your truth as you do it.
Who gives a fuck, dude?
Yeah,
Like, they're judging you. It's probably coming from a place of insecurity. And you and I were talking about this earlier. It's like, why do people actually judge, right? And maybe it's because they feel too insecure to put themselves out there, so they're projecting their own fears onto you
to make them feel better about themselves.
To make them feel
not
better, yeah.
doing the handstand.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like a big piece of this that is very prevalent in our life and our circles comes back to content, like putting ourselves in front of the camera, because obviously, as a lot of us have that same experience of being afraid of what people are going to think of us if we're in front of the camera. We think, we worry about people thinking, or at least we worry about ourselves coming across as stupid or just like not, for me, it's like not articulate or whatever it might be.
Less than
or just
somehow.
like less than, or just because we compare ourselves to the Chris Williamsons of the world who are just
Right.
fucking dialed.
Right.
And we know we're not going to be that articulate. We know we're not going to be that professional.
And the thing is like, why would you?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Chris, by the way, is he's Modern Wisdom podcast and one of the biggest podcasts in the world. And this guy like actively trains himself to be a better podcaster. So obviously he's going to be better than you. It's like, why do you expect to be a better 3-point shooter than Steph Curry?
Right.
He's practicing it every single day.
Right.
But anyways.
Yeah, 100%. So that fucking mentality, I think that's almost like the easiest one not the easiest one, but it's a good one to start with. Because yes,
I don't give a fuck mentality.
Yeah, because yes, there might be one person out there who's going to be judging you. Yeah, sure, that's probably true. Who cares? And honestly, I think it's important to adopt all of these different methods, because if you start putting yourself out on the internet, for example, yeah, there's going to be people that talk shit in your comments. That's just pretty much inevitable.
You almost want them to.
Sure, yeah.
Because if somebody is upset, that means you're standing for something powerful. Like, there are going to be people who support it, and there are also going to be people who, there's always going to be naysayers, and it's a sign of you're talking about something that is meaningful.
Right.
Versus what I was recently doing, which is like making broad content, trying to make everybody happy. It's like, if you make everybody happy, there's a saying, like, if you try to speak to everyone, you'll speak to no one.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like the same thing. Like,
yeah.
To speak to someone, you got to piss somebody else off.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, so what's the fourth one?
So, yeah, the fourth one is kind of like through the lens of your inner child. So looking back at your past and trying to identify areas in which, experiences that you might have had where you were judged, you were made fun of. And you can kind of point to those things in your past and be able to see where that programming came from. And through looking at that wiring, you can kind of unwire it, I think.
I love that. And I can relate to that so much, because once I really went into my childhood and understood why I was so shy and reserved and like feeling lonely, it helped me understand those patterns that come up today. And it helped me understand, that's just a pattern. That's not the truth. It's not who I have to be. It's just what I'm familiar with.
Right.
So I really fucking love that.
Yeah. And then I think the last thing, and this is just in general, but fucking reps. Like, the more you get outside of your comfort zone, the more comfortable you get being uncomfortable, and the more confidence you build. And then once you build that foundation of confidence, then yes, you still might be worried about what other people are going to think of you, but in general, you're going to do the thing anyways, and that's what's important, doing the thing anyways.
Right. It's like familiarizing something that's new to you.
Right.
Like, the first time you walk into the gym, it's super uncomfortable. You think that everybody's sitting there staring at you, judging you. Oh, look at this weak little whatever. He can barely pick up the 20 pounds. Yeah. When in reality, half of those people are probably rooting for you. Like, 100%. Dude, we all started somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, you literally have to start somewhere. And the sooner you start, the sooner that you get over fear of judgment,
Right.
whatever it is that you're working on.
Yeah. And this might be a slight tangent, but I'm curious to hear what you think about it because it's something that I've been dealing with, is figuring out how not to be intimidated and not to feel less than those who are further along on their journey than you are and maybe are more successful than you are, but rather than feeling negatively about it, feel positively about it and be able to use that as energy to fuel you and inspire you. And that's something I've been working on since I moved to Austin. I'm launching this brand and I just started doing content, etc. I came here and I'm like, oh fuck, there's all these awesome people who are further along than I am, better at what I'm trying to do than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of made me, for a little bit, it kind of made me like get in my head about what I was doing and feel, yeah, less than. But once I became aware of that, and awareness is so important for everything in life. But once I became aware of that, I was able to kind of reframe that thought pattern. But I'm curious in your space, because you've been doing content for a long time, but again, like the Chris Williamsons of the world, that level of, let's say, production that they have in their videos, for example, or how they are in front of the camera, it's still easy to compare ourselves to them. So I'm curious if you've dealt with that or experienced that and how you've gotten through it, because clearly you're doing the thing anyways.
The first thing I have to say is that there's always going to be somebody better than you.
Right.
And I think that the one thing that I've realized is when you can look at somebody who's better than you and actually root for them,
Yeah.
that opens up room for improvement for yourself. Because then your mind is like, I think when jealousy sneaks in, it ruins flow and it ruins desire to grow. So if that's the case, let's just do the opposite of giving jealousy attention. I think there are times when jealousy can easily creep up. But again, like going back to what we were saying earlier, like when you can notice the pattern of jealousy creeping up, you can literally just take a step back and just say, oh, jealousy's coming in. Let me take a deep breath. Let me look up. Let me remind myself how far I've gotten. And then just look at it again and see how I can be inspired from it, as opposed to entertaining the negative energy and blocking my own creative flow. Because it goes back to, what I was saying earlier. We all start somewhere, and the people who are better than you deserve to be better than you because they have put more reps in than you. And that's just the nature of life,
Right.
And so it's just a matter of putting in more reps. Being curious is what has really helped me. Like, even being curious as to, why do I feel jealous about this? Why do I feel like they're better than me? What does that tell me about myself? What does that tell me about how I can move forward in my day-to-day? What could I do differently to reduce this jealousy? And I think, like, if you approach it with curiosity, your growth is inevitable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is essentially like,
Holy shit, Steve's on a unicycle.
Austin's weird as fuck, bro.
The shit you see here. Holy shit, he's going down the fuck. Dude, that's like not easy terrain to go down on 2 wheels, nonetheless one.
So what I'm hearing from what you just said is kind of like mindfulness / like awareness, becoming aware of that pattern, those thoughts, and then choosing to be sovereign, choosing to use that as an opportunity to change the way you're thinking about something, and then in changing the way you're thinking about something, changing your actions and doing something that's going to be helpful for your progress and your evolution. Is that kind of...
Oh, definitely.
Is that...
Yeah, I think our judgment towards our judgment towards others is a reflection of how we judge ourselves. Right. So, kind of feeding off what we were saying earlier about how somebody judging you is only judging you because they can't do that for themselves. They're projecting that judgment that they're judging themselves. Kind of lost my train of thought there.
I see where you're going with that. It's like how you're perceiving other people and how that's affecting you.
I'll say it this way. Relationships, being in social environments, it's all a mirror. Like, what you're feeling towards someone else doing something says something about how you're thinking about yourself.
Right.
forgot the original question or point we were trying to make, but I think that has been the biggest unlock for me, because when I first got into photography, I used to be super self-conscious about bringing that big ass camera around all over the place, and there were definitely people staring. When you have like a big camera, there's always people staring.
Right.
But this way it goes back to like getting the reps in. The more that you go out in public and shoot photos and bring that big ass camera around with you, the less you give a fuck about more people looking, because you just expect it.
Right.
Like, you expect judgment, you expect the good and the bad, and you do it anyways because that's what matters at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, getting back to your why, I think, is another helpful way to persevere through that potential judgment from other people, or the fear you're feeling around the judgment.
For sure, dude. I think the purpose behind why you do something is going to be the main thing that helps you overcome the self-sabotaging thoughts that might happen to you tomorrow at the grocery store.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think there's ways to manufacture the reps that you're getting.
Tell me about that.
So, like, you can go somewhere wearing an outfit that you know you're going to get looks, for example. Dude, something that this was just kind of like, it wasn't necessarily by design, but it did definitely help me get more confident, because I used to be I would never take my shirt off when I was a kid. Like, I'd go to the fucking swimming pool wearing one of those, like, rash guards, for example.
So you'd jump in the pool with the shirt on?
Yeah. Well, yeah, like a rash guard, like a sun shirt or whatever the fuck. When I
don't know what that is.
Just like it's like some polyester shirt
Okay.
that you wear if you're surfing, for example. I wasn't fucking surfing. I was just going. Yeah, exactly. Essentially, I would go with my shirt on.
Gotcha.
Once I began to kind of transform the way I looked, and that gave me some confidence, I started going and walking around shirtless, just like most of the time, because I like the sunshine, but also because I had, for so many years, been too scared to take my shirt off. You know what I mean? So in doing that thing, it continued to build my confidence more and more. Granted, I had a little bit of a boost in confidence because, you know, I lost the weight and I started to put on a little bit of muscle, you know what I mean? But still, like, the more I did it, the more comfortable I got with it. Even though today I still hold on to a lot of insecurity around my body. You know what I mean?
You know what's really interesting about that? I think all of the most best looking people are the most insecure,
Sure,
and that's why they look the best.
Yeah, no.
I think I was gonna bring up something, but I can't remember the other two.
I'm gonna say something off camera about this. That's really true.
Okay.
But I hear what you're saying. I mean, that's the reality, and it's, you know, an unfortunate form of, maybe, I don't know, mental illness is probably too strong of a statement, but
I think it's a trait of the most successful people, though.
True.
That they're the most insecure.
Yeah.
That they're trying to, like, prove themselves because of this deep desire of insecurity.
Or prove themselves to themselves.
Yeah.
So actually, I wanna dovetail and ask you something. How do you deal with this sense of not being enough, and not, because I'm sure you have a grand, let me back up. I know you have a grand vision for your business, for your life, for yourself. How do you deal with feeling like you're not far enough along on that journey, or you're not close enough to succeeding that, to achieving your goals? And tell me if I'm off the mark, but this is how I feel, and I know we're very similar, so I'm guessing some of this sentiment maybe comes up in your life as well.
Dude, this is like one of the biggest things that I've struggled with over my 20s.
Yeah.
For sure. I thought I was going to be at a certain point at age 25, and I think at age 25 was like mid-COVID, and I literally wasn't making a fucking dime. So definitely I've struggled with this feeling of not where I thought I was going to be.
Right.
Whatever the fuck that is. I think there are a couple of things that come to mind. The first thing is that we tend to overestimate how much we can get done in a day. So I think the quote goes, measure your life in decades, not days. And if you think about working towards a goal over the course of your lifetime, it gives you a lot more grace, it releases a lot of pressure, and it also makes it feel more tangible that you can reach the goal, versus like creating an arbitrary deadline for yourself. So that's the first thing, is reframing time and how you measure it. The second thing is the one thing over the last or the last year and a half that I've feel like has made a huge big difference in my mental health is giving myself grace. I think it's super easy to make things harder than they need to be. And there's a time and place for it. Like, I think that it's good to put pressure on yourself, a healthy amount. But when you're just constantly thinking about how you're behind or less than or not enough, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's not an act of self-love. Like, no parent is going to be talking to their child a certain way because they didn't learn the ABCs by a certain age. Shouldn't be. Right. A good parent.
Yeah.
A healthy parent.
Or talking to your friend, like you wouldn't talk shit to your friend like we do ourselves.
Right. It's not about where you are. Like, here's another quote that I always think about. It's your bank account is not a reflection of your potential. It's a reflection of your energy. So what energy are you showing up with? Like, what kind of energy do you feel like you need to support yourself taking the next step? Because the next step is what matters, not whether or not you fucking reach the checkpoint by a certain date.
Right.
So I think those are the most prevalent things that have helped me cope with that.
That makes sense. And yeah, again, to kind of dovetail off of that, this idea of always thinking about, I don't have enough, I'm not enough, is going to keep you in that. I think it's going to keep you in that place. I've been really, really fascinated with the concept of law of attraction, and this idea that your thoughts shape and help create your reality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think it's so important to be really mindful of our thought patterns and to figure out how to break out of thought patterns that aren't serving us, for example. So if we're constantly thinking about, we don't have enough, we're not enough, then we're going to stay in that place and we're not going to progress. Versus if we change our mindset and we attune our thoughts to those of abundance and those of progress and success, then like attracts like, and we're going to actually magnetize those things into our life.
Right.
And it sounds a little woo-woo, but it's just actually fucking physics, and it's just how the universe works.
We're made up of energy.
We are just light, dude. We are just energy.
Yeah.
And everything in the universe holds a vibrational frequency, an electromagnetic frequency. And when we embody certain thoughts, we start to give off a specific wavelength, specific frequency, and those get transmitted into the ether, into the universe, like a radio sending out information.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets received by forces in the universe. And the theory goes that, the law of attraction states that like attracts like. And when you send out that whatever frequency you're sending out, it's going to come back to you. So if you're sending out positive thoughts of abundance, then abundance will come back to you. If you're sending out thoughts of scarcity, then you're going to stay in a place of scarcity. Super interesting.
The one thing that you can't control is like how you respond.
100%.
You can't control much else. You can't control what day you achieve certain milestone, but you can always control how you respond. And I think that's where the power of taking a step back. Have you ever read Extreme Ownership?
I know.
Jocko Willink.
By Jocko. I haven't read it, but.
So he has like this beautiful analogy where he was, I'm going to butcher some of the like titles, but he was in charge of a group of men, whatever that is, sergeant, whatever it is. Anyways, he was in control of these men, and his duty was to take care of these men. And he said that it was always so powerful, instead of him to have his head down in the front line, to always take a step back and lift his head up and look around. And I think that is huge whenever you feel like you're entertaining jealousy or you're feeling behind. Like, your head's down into that emotion. Take a step back, go on a walk, write in a journal, talk to a friend, and look around. And remind yourself like what you already have, and don't let this little thing stop you from loving yourself, because There's a song that I heard yesterday, and she said, "What you think determines the quality of your mind." And I think whatever state your mind is in goes back to what you were saying, is what you attract. Like if you love yourself and you give yourself grace just like you would your own child, you the potential for you to love outwardly is just it's innate. And I think when you're able to broadcast that, like, it's back to the energy thing, people can feel that. And I've noticed in my experience that when I'm operating from that place, that's where opportunities come from, because people see you, they feel you, they want you to be a part of their world. They ask you for help, they ask you for guidance, they ask you for your expertise. And without that initial making the decision to love myself, then all of that is not possible. And it starts with you. It's like fill your own cup up and let others receive the overflow. There's also another thing that I thought was that's helped me. Do you know who Seth Godin is?
Mm-hmm.
He has this concept called the dip, where basically, like, when you first start something, you're in web design, so you understand this. Like, when you create your first website, you get all this dopamine. You're like, fuck yeah, I feel so inspired. And then you start creating more websites, and all of a sudden, like, you're not seeing a lot of progress.
Right.
You're not seeing a lot of progress. But then there will be one day where just compound interest just fucking goes insane.
Mm-hmm.
And all the success comes, like, with overnight, but it doesn't come without all that, right? So I think I have this faith that all the effort that I'm putting in, regardless of where I'm at right now, where I thought I was going to be, there will be a day, I know there will be a day where things just take off.
Right.
It's bound to. Physics.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, I love that idea of you might not see the fruits of your labor. You won't see the fruits of your labor in the moment necessarily, but the more time and energy you invest into something, you can think about it. It's like building, like your bank account, for example. You use the analogy of compound interest. Let's say you're just like dollar cost averaging every month. You're tossing X amount of dollars into a high yield savings account, for example, or the S&P 500 or whatever it might be. Over time, that compounds, like you said, and it gets to a point of being worth exponentially more than when you started. And that's true of investing time and energy into an endeavor as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because you might not see necessarily the rewards coming through day to day, but you got to remember that that energy that you're pouring into this entity, this venture, this thing that you're creating or working on, even if you're not seeing, the fruits of that in the moment, I think it's important to remember that down the road, something beautiful is going to transform. Something beautiful is going to take form from all of that energy that you've invested into it.
Absolutely.
And I like how you were talking earlier about like people coming into your life and feeling your energy. I think that's so huge, because kind of getting back to that concept of vibrational frequencies, all of us have an electromagnetic signature, right? And we have an energy field around us. And when, we're constantly entertaining thoughts, negative thoughts, for example, our energy is really dense and our field is very small, and people don't really fuck with us. People can feel that. Like, energy is a real thing. You can feel energy. Versus, like, you and I, we met, like, I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago now. We're these, like, we've done a lot of work on ourselves, and we've gotten to a place where, we're not perfect, and we don't view ourselves as perfect by any means, and we still have our flaws like we've been talking about. But there's also a lot of happiness, a lot of joy, a lot of love, a lot of gratitude in there. And all of those things, they emit this, like, beautiful, vibrant frequency, and your energy field expands, and people feel that, and they want to be in your energy. They want to be around you. I think a good example of that is, like, the relationships that you and I have built recently with just good fucking people. Like, you're around them and you like to be around them. And I'll never forget when I met my girlfriend, Sarah, that was the biggest thing I noticed about her. I was like, this girl has such good energy. I just want to be in this energy field, because she magnetized me. You know what I mean? It's very magnetic.
Right.
So I think if people want to experiment with that, I think if you just, like, tune in. The fuck is that? Yeah, shit.
It's like a scab.
Yeah, something bit me. I think it's interesting if you start to become aware of those concepts and you spend time around different people, you start to pick up on good energy and maybe not so good energy, and you'll realize you want to be around certain people and not be around certain people, and all that kind of, I think, comes back to their internal world, right, is a really huge reflection of their external world.
Right. Yeah, I feel like it comes down to, well, like, I think you got to fuck with yourself first before people fuck with you.
Absolutely, dude. You gotta fuck with yourself.
And the key to self-confidence is just keeping the promises to yourself. So if you feel like
Right.
not confident, you feel like you're judging other people, or you notice that it comes up easier, and you want to work on that, then it's a matter of just chipping away at the thing that matters to you. And the more that you get the reps in, the more that you go to the gym, the more likely that you build the body that you're looking for, the more likely you find confidence that helps outside of the gym. It's all about, like, at the end of the day, you know what you need to do. You know what you should do.
Right.
And you know where you want to go. You may not know exactly what it is, but you at least have an idea. And if you just take small baby steps towards whatever that is, it is inevitable that you will develop confidence, and that the world will start noticing your progress, and that you'll start noticing that you don't judge other people as much as you used to, because you're not so judgmental towards yourself anymore.
Right. I think that's an important concept. If people notice themselves judging other people, I think that's a huge indicator that they have a lot of work to do on themselves.
Exactly.
Right? And when we can start to realize, oh, we're judging other people, we're like, dude, I think it's wild to me that, there's still people that talk shit about other people and put other people down. Because when you put that negativity out into the world, you're just doing yourself such a huge disservice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think maybe one of the biggest ways of getting over your own fear of judgment is stop judging other people, maybe, right? Because I think
For sure.
once you start to, actually, this is another thing to add to the framework, but when you start, like you said, when you start to root for other people and be stoked for other people, then you yourself internally feel more motivation and drive to do the things that you want to do as well.
Because you're putting out goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude. This has been I wasn't expecting us to go this deep, but this is a fucking awesome chat.
I love it.
Yeah, dude. Any final thoughts?
No, I appreciate the conversation. I think having these types of conversations with ourselves through just, reflection and journaling is really, really important. But getting to sit down with someone and have a chat and be able to talk about our shared experiences is really powerful as well.
Fuck yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Of course, man.
We'll have to do it again, brother.
Tell them about your brand.
Yeah, cool. Here, you want to show them the hat? I don't have a hat on me. Dialed.
Let me
This is the
zoom
name
in.
of the
Let me
brand.
zoom in 1 second.
Yeah, so the name of the brand that I've been working on is called Dialed, and essentially the essence of this brand is it's something that I'm creating for individuals who are living in alignment with their mind, their body, and their soul. So this really is a holistic perspective on. Thank you. This is really.
Thank you.
This really is a holistic perspective and approach to life. So, I believe that going to the gym and taking care of your body is really important, but it's not everything. I believe that mindset and spirituality are very, very important elements of living a fulfilled and confident and joyful and meaningful and purposeful life. So we kind of have to look at ourselves through a holistic lens, and we need to work on all the things that we're working on. We need to get the reps in all these regards. We need to, yes, go to the gym, eat good food, spend time in nature, meditate, develop meaningful relationships. Like, all of those are a piece of a greater puzzle. So that's what Dialed represents. It's dialing into a holistic lifestyle of vitality and purpose and authenticity. So it's been a pleasure working on it so far, and getting to bring my friends into it has been the best part so far, I think. Getting to shoot with Ashton today, leaning on his expertise has been a blast, and I see this thing growing and it being much more than, an apparel brand. This is just like one tiny piece of the puzzle, and it was a great place for me to start to get some visibility around this idea, but really what I want to do is elevate other people and help other people on their journey to, developing that holistic lifestyle that I was talking about. And, through community, through education, through awareness, all of the good things, just fucking spreading the good word and inspiring people and helping them evolve and become happier, more confident, better versions of themselves, and also practicing self-love and gratitude and just being content.
Fuck yeah. Well, I feel like you did that today.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Today's fucking
Where can
fun.
they, like, if they want to get involved or if they want to get some products, where should they go?
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you. So my social media tags are dialed.gabe. My name again is Gabe. The website is dialedhumans.com.
I'll put it in the description.
Cool. Appreciate that.
Hell
bro.
yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Dialed Human. So on this first kind of little drop, I'm doing, like the idea is 7 hats, 6 shirts, simplicity, just like
Let's go.
super high quality products, not charging that much for them, not like trying to make a bunch of money, just really like creating dope premium apparel for people to rock.
Which they feel amazing. Like, the
Yeah, they're
shirt
nice.
quality is insane.
Yeah, they're really nice. They're really nice. I'm happy with it.
And obviously, I like the hat.
Yeah, the hat's cool too. But yeah, the shirts are pretty special. So yeah, that's kind of like the e-commerce website. Dialedhumans.com is kind of the first step, and then community events, and I'm going to be throwing retreats in the future, as well as doing a lot more with education, and just again spreading that word and the good word. I don't know why I keep saying the good word. Spreading this concept and helping people dial in and fucking be better.
It's definitely been a keyword lately. I can't stop saying dialed,
right.
bro.
And that's something I've noticed too, and that was kind of like a sign to me that I was on the right path with this. Is the brand really resonates with people. People fucking love that word.
Fuck yeah.
They love the simplicity of it. So we'll see
yeah.
what we can do, bro. And
Let's do it.
with people like yourself, with our our other homies, our community, I think we can create something really, really beautiful. So I'm
Oh
excited.
yeah. Sweet. Well,
Yeah,
thanks for being willing to do this.
Yeah, of
And
course.
if you're still listening to this, do me a favor and let me know if you enjoyed this in the comments, because I'd like to do more of it, stuff like this, but only if you guys want it. So yeah, thanks, Gabe.
Yeah, bro.
Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you. Well, I guess you won't, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully soon.
Hope to be back. Yeah. Love you guys. Thank you.
Peace.
Nice.
Dude, that was awesome.
That was dope.
Fuck yeah.
Woo! Bro, I'm not gonna lie, sitting like that for that long, my back's
Gotta jump back in now.
not used to.